State moves to criminalize screen time for kids, parents to face $20,000 fine for violation. By Claire Burnish, July 10, 2017. Should Colorado legislators get their way, smartphones and other electronic devices capable of connecting to the internet would be verboten for kids under the age of 13, and parents could face up to $20,000 in fines for violating the proposed law. Intended to make children free, Initiative 29 is the brainchild of Parents Against Underage Smartphones, PAUS, a group of concerned parents whose mission statement includes ending the insane practice of giving children smartphones. But while the spirit of the proposed law might be considered a laudable attempt to reconnect kids with nature, in actuality, its nanny state overtones trump the unabashed appeal to emotion. If successful in Colorado's legislature, the proposed strictures governing children's use of internet-connected devices will inculcate parents as de facto agents of the U.S. police state in holding them accountable for kids' screen time through an inexcusable, untenable quandary shared in part with cell phone and electronics retailers. Indeed, Initiative 29 requires store owners verbally inquire about the age of the intended primary owner of the smartphone. A mandated interrogation conditional to the voluntary exchange of goods for payment will undeniably turn parents who feel the question none of the state's business into potential liars and, thus, criminals. PAUS president and founder Dr. Timothy Farnham grew disheartened at the deleterious effects on his own children, which, he surmised, stemmed from their constant use of cell phones and forays into the sometimes wild internet. They would get the phone and lock themselves in their room and change who they were, lamented Farnham, board-certified anesthesiologist, to the Coloradon. They go from being outgoing, energetic, interested in the world and happy, to reclusive. They want to spend all their time in their room. They lose interest in outside activities. Advertisement. With smartphones, the internet is always begging for your attention, he added. The apps are all designed to addict you. For children, it's not a good thing. However, what Farnham and the initiative supporters seemingly fail to grasp is the inordinate overreach by a state so invasive and burdened by excessive law. Big Brother already commands a seat at every family's dinner table. To additionally mandate retailer interrogation and parental restriction, to boot, not only robs parents of the right to raise children how they see fit, it veritably secures the state as a coercive, fine-imposing babysitter. Frankly, I think it should remain a family matter, asserted Senator John Kefalas, noting the commendable motive behind the legislation does not negate its boundary-trampling reach into our private lives. I know there have been different proposals out there regarding the internet and putting filters on websites that might put kids at risk. I think ultimately, this comes down to parents, making sure their kids are not putting themselves at risk. Kefalas speaks to an increased dependence on government to step in where parents may fall short. Farnham's proposal clears guardians of inherent responsibility for children's activities and development, instead placing the onus on store owners to perform the tasks of, in essence, state spies, all at the barrel of a weighty financial gun. Of PAUS, Salon notes. On their website, the group points to pediatricians who recommend limiting handheld screen time for kids and an article about Bill Gates' thoughts on adolescent development and smartphones. They also have a YouTube embed of a Louis C.K. bit about cell phones. Among pictures of falling rain, sunflowers, crowds, and the random image of Mel Gibson in Braveheart, PAUS lays out its argument on their website: the internet is a dangerous place for children. PAUS explains, without sourcing much of their information, that the damage begins in the cradle, citing parental negligence and overflow of electronic stimulation as the cause for future physical damage and stunted social, emotional, and cognitive development. Additionally, the group pins pornography and a lack of meaningful connections in a digital society as reasons for higher rates of suicide in young girls from ages 10-14. To reiterate, the group's goals might bubble from a place of concern for children's well-being and an apathy becoming entrenched in society that could facilely evince its peril, but, to place a burden of financial culpability as steep as $20,000 after a single verbal warning for 13 and under's use of electronic devices unduly penalizes their access to an entire planet's wealth of online information. In fact, the positive benefits reaped in youth having internet access at the ready comprise a damning counter-narrative to Initiative 29's foisting of any damaging effects onto the backs of guardians and business owners, who might otherwise engage in a voluntary exchange on their terms. As Greg Poole's share points out for FEE, children's inactivity is a major rallying cry for the advocates of the initiative. However, smartphones are not the cause of this idleness, smartphones are the symptom. Decades of regulations and cultural norms are treating children as delicate flowers, which leads to these unintended consequences. Notably, educational psychologist Dr. Peter Gray observes in Free to Learn. Surveys of game players in the general population indicate that kids who are free to play outdoors as well as with video games usually, over time, choose a balance between the two. Video game play appears to compete much more with television watching than with outdoor play for children's free time. Further, Initiative 29 and POUS fail to account for an interminable list of reasons parents might provide children with cell phones and other smart devices beyond the simple pleasures of arguably addicting games and apps, whether for safety while alone, purely for portable connectivity to their guardians, or security inability to summon necessary emergency services. Kids' possession of internet-ready devices can encompass virtually any sound justification, none of which deserve any additional excuses by the state to intervene in our private lives. As with nearly any legislation, examining a slurry of negative ramifications expeditiously destroys any possible positives, particularly in the context of an invasive government, which seems intent only on watching our every move. Indeed, the nanny state's onerous presence in children's lives as they learn, grow, explore, and adapt to the modern digital world, is far more inclined than any amount of screen time to stunt natural curiosity, foster ambivalence, and strew resentment, particularly if parents are forced to dole out tens of thousands for the crime. After all, unless a communist regime usurps power, it is the job of parents, not the state, and certainly not retailers, to see children prepared for the perils of adulthood, whether or not that preparation includes responsible use of the internet.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department. Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
for life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, And that was every month. Oh my God. Yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now. You know, $1 a day. I mean, $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.